What's gravy, baby? You already know who it is. It's your boy Trey here on another episode of the Trey Talk Saints podcast. I believe this is episode 7. Hell, it could be 8, but whichever one it is, appreciate y'all for stopping through. Make sure y'all check out the playlist on the channel. If you guys are interested in any of the other episodes that I have dropped, I've had some, post-game videos that I've posted. Just news, any like important or prevalent news that I feel like I should talk about, I make sure to post that as well. So in case of this video, what news are we talking about? Free agency. So it's kind of slowed down a little bit with all the crazy moves and everything that's went on in the free agency so far. It's kind of a slow period right now. That's kind of why I was waiting to make this video, to get a lot of moves, get a lot of stuff out of the way, so that way I can do a bunch of the updates all together in one video instead of trying to like separate them out in different videos and things of that nature. So the Saints have made a lot of different moves, a lot of little moves, a lot of mediocre moves, nothing just real huge and big, but they've made a decent amount of moves to kind of make it a big deal. So we're going to talk about all the free agency stuff. Derek Carr, he is staying with the Saints. We're also going to talk about that and how I feel about him remaining with the team. And, I believe that's pretty much what the video is going to be about, man. So let's get into it. First, what we're going to talk about is this right here with Derek Carr. Saints starting QB Derek Carr, after numerous talks with the team about his 2025 compensation, is getting most of his salary converted for salary cap reasons. Carr sticks after all in New Orleans and is set to make his full $40 million. Pretty much what this is saying is that the Saints are deciding just to keep Derek Carr for the year. Let's not cut him. Let's not do anything crazy, release him, and, take a bigger cap hit than we have to take. Let's be, as cap compliant as possible. Let's try to do things the right way this go around, at least when it comes to Derek Carr. Let's just go ahead, let him stay his last year, give him the full amount that we owe him, and after this, we get him off the books. We are done with him completely. We don't have to owe him down the road. After this season, he is done, finito, finished, goodbye, good riddance, get the hell off my goddamn team. You hear me? Like, that's pretty much why the Saints are doing this. And I can understand the frustration. People like, bro, man, this is what I'm talking about. Mickey Loomis, man, bringing back Carr. This is why we're not a competitive franchise anymore. We suck. I know there's gonna be a lot of people. I hate Derek Carr. Derek Carr shouldn't be on the team anymore. Hey, listen, dog, listen. I understand all of that. I understand all of y'all. Okay, but let's be honest. Let's be real here. What quarterback are we getting that's gonna make us a championship team? What playoff or what team, what quarterback are we going to get that's going to make us a playoff contender? Just let me know in the comment section. Any of the quarterbacks that was available, which one do y'all believe, if we add them to this team right here, this current iteration of the Saints, what quarterback that was available out of like Justin Fields and the Russell Wilsons and the Aaron Rodgers and the Daniel Jones, Jameis Winston's, and who the hell else as far as quarterbacks that was out there, moving around. I mean, those are just the names that pop off in the top of my head. So just let me know which one of those that you just like, hey, if the Saints would have got him, yeah, man, they would have been a playoff contender. Let's be honest, bro, none of them, dog. Justin Fields had some decent promise with him. You know what I'm saying? Like some decent promise. Maybe he would have been able to come to the Saints and make it like a little interesting. But, with the team around him, I still don't think it will be a true playoff contending team. Okay? So it does make sense in the long-term vision, as in, hey, we're going to use this guy for the year. We're going to build up our team. So we're going to start slowly making moves to build our team up. Let's try to have a real good draft. Let's try to pick up some players here or there in the free agency that we can add on the team for a little minute. and let's kind of, make some contract extensions as well, and just kind of try to build up a team to where when Derek Carr does leave, then at that point, okay, maybe we have a quarterback in the room after the draft that's behind him. Maybe Spencer Rattler shows us something that, we think he's the future. Or maybe we just, have a quarterback in the locker room and just get like a bridge quarterback for the year. And then the year after we get another quarterback. And we just steadily built a team while we're going through this quarterback shuffle. I mean, that's honestly where the Saints are right now. They're at the point right now where it's better for you to start building your team. Get your depth right. Get your wide receiver room right. Get your running back room right. Get your offensive line, your D line, your cornerbacks, your linebackers. Saints pretty much need every goddamn thing when it comes to players, when it comes to stars, when it comes to role players, when it comes to players on a bench, just depth in general. The Saints need it all. So it's at this point, it's like, bruh, let's just keep Derek Carr. If Spencer Rattler turns out good, then great. We got him right there. If he doesn't, we draft us another quarterback either this draft or next draft. But while we're doing this, while we're figuring out this quarterback situation, let's go ahead and start building the team in all of the other places. So that way, when we do get a quarterback, bam, we off and running. Because look at some of the teams that had a decent team around them and all they needed was the quarterback. A la the Commanders. That's going to be the biggest example. They had a decent defense. They had some decent offensive weapons around. All they needed to do was just fill in the quarterback. They filled in the quarterback in Jayden Daniels and boom, on to the goddamn NFC Championship game. You heard me? You see what I mean? There's some other examples, kind of like Bo Nix with the Broncos. Everybody thought it was a terrible idea. Bo Nix getting rid of Russell Wilson. Bo Nix came in, took them boys to the playoffs the first goddamn season. You know what I'm saying? So they had a team in place where the team was decent. They just needed to build up in some places here or there. But the main problem was the quarterback. They got their guy, and now they're contenders. Look at the Texans. Same thing. They built up through the draft. They got them some draft. They got them C.J. Stroud. They got them Will Anderson. They made some moves in the free agency. But when they got C.J. Stroud, that's pretty much all they needed to jumpstart them back to contention. So that's the road that we are looking for the Saints. So all you Saints fans, I know it's upsetting. I know we don't like Carr. I despise him. You should know that by listening to my videos. If you haven't, just check out the last damn video. I literally did an interview with myself, acting as Kellen Moore, talking about how badly I want to Derek Carr off the goddamn team. But nonetheless, what I'm saying does make sense. What the Saints are doing does make sense. Let's try to build out the roster these next couple of years while we're doing all this quarterback shuffling, trying to figure out who our next guy is. But once we get that next guy in the locker room, when we get that quarterback that we know that's going to be able to lead this team and not just be a guy that just, because the type of quarterback Derek Carr is, he doesn't lead the team. He doesn't uplift the team. He needs the team to uplift him. He needs the team to lead him. So once we get a quarterback that uplifts the team, a quarterback that leads the team, then at that point, we good and gravy. Because every other position should be pretty much depth out, should pretty much have better players on the team through the draft, through free agency, and we'll be rocking and rolling. So let's be patient. This is going to be probably a tough 2 to 3 years, Saints fans. I know it sucks, but that's kind of where we at right now. This is pretty much like a soft rebuild is what we're going through. We're not spending too much money in the free agency. We're spending a little money here or there to make little decent moves to help the team. We're signing some guys back with contract extensions that we believe that can still, play good and be a part of the team for the next upcoming few years. And then the main important part is just the draft. You got to go out and you got to put together a good draft. You got to be able to draft day one players that you can use. Like, I'm talking about players you can use day one of the goddamn season. You need to draft those type of players. Whether it's first round, whether it's second round, whether it's the third round, whether it's the fourth round, I don't care. Honestly, rounds 1 through goddamn 5, they all need to be players that can actually contribute to the team right now. So they have a first round pick, they have a second round, they have 2/3, they have 2/4. So those picks right there, your first round pick, your second round pick, your 2/3 round picks, and your 2/4 round picks, you need to be able to hit on all 6 of those. All 6 of them. You need to strategically plan out and find a way to make sure that all 6 of those goddamn draft picks are going to be hits, and that all of those can make an impact day one, game 1 in the season. All 6 of those picks, bro. All 6 of them. You can find round 4 talent that can be usable in games day 1 of the season. You can find third round picks that can be used game 1 of the season. And of course, first and second rounders, you for sure can find players that you can use day 1. You know, once you get past like the 4th round, once you get like to the 5th in the later rounds, then you're kind of like, you know what I'm saying? It's understandable. But rounds 1 through 4, you got to hit, bro. You got to hit rounds 1 through 4. Know what I'm saying? You got to. So the main important thing about all of this is just going to be drafting right. These next couple of years of drafting is going to be very paramount for the Saints. Very, 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 very important, dog. These next 2 to 3 years of draft picks. It's going to be very important, man. Whether they trade up, get rid of the first round pick, and maybe get rid of the pick 9, and maybe get two first round picks. Do what you got to do, bro. Stockpile your picks if you got to. I don't give a damn. Do what you got to do to get as many good prospects in the door that we can pretty much evolve and make into some really good players for the future of the Saints. That's what's the most important right here, guys. So that's why I'm going to end off with this topic with the Derek Carr. What's important right now is not so much the present, guys. It's just not, man. I'm just being real with you. This year coming up is not that important. It is in some aspects, like players individual-wise, but as a whole team-wise, bro, this year coming up is not what we should be trying to think about going all in. It's a point in time, guys, where we just have to understand that the Saints need to finally start playing the long game. Okay? It's okay, guys. I know we used to Drew Brees leading the team and Sean Payton. We used to the glory days where they had us in the playoffs every year. We had a good run, bro. But Drew Brees is gone. Sean Payton is gone. Michael Thomas is gone. Alvin Kamara is not in his prime anymore. You know, we lost Hendrickson. Cam Jordan's not in his prime anymore. DeMario Davis not in his prime anymore. A lot of those players are gone, bro. Or they not the same. And the quarterback, the main piece, he's gone. Drew is gone. So it's okay to understand that, bro, it is time. It is time to finally start playing the long game. We pushed it back too goddamn long, y'all. It is finally time to start playing the long game. So let's be patient. Let's not get pissed off. I don't really want to even get pissed off this season. Maintain and understand the expectations for this team. This team is not expected to go deep in the playoffs this season coming up. This team is not even expected to make the goddamn playoffs. They shouldn't be. Yeah, the division is ass that we're in, but look at the state of all the teams. The Saints are pretty much in a worse state than everybody. The Falcons have a future QB. Panthers have a future QB. Buccaneers, they pretty much have their QB. The Saints, we have uncertainty at the QB position. And until you get that right, you ain't going nowhere, baby. You just ain't. So let's rebuild our team from the trenches, from the outside in. You know what I'm saying? From the outside in. Let's make sure our safety room right. Let's make sure our cornerback room right. Let's make sure our D, and then let's go down. Let's make sure our linebacker room right. And then let's get down the trenches. Let's make sure that D line and O line right. And then let's make sure the receivers and the running back room right. And then, guys, when we make sure all that right, when we get that goddamn quarterback, the next 2-3 years, we should have a quarterback in the room we trust. When we get that goddamn quarterback within these next 3 years, oh yeah, baby, we gonna be ready. All right, let's go. All right, so that's pretty much all I gotta say about bum ass Derek Carr. I also talk about the draft a little bit. We did talk about the draft picks and stuff like that. I'm not gonna go too far into the draft. Last video I did, or the video before last, I did go into the draft pretty heavily, but I will have another draft video coming up as the draft approaches. I will have a video, primarily talking about the draft. Probably after the draft is done. Honestly, I have a video after the draft is done and my thoughts about the draft. So, make sure you guys stay tuned to that after the draft is done. But what I want to talk about next, we're going to talk about contract extensions, and then we're also going to talk about actual free agency signings. So, notable contract extensions that we did have on the team. First off, we have Mr. Chase Young. Okay, so Chase Young signed a $3 million extension. How much was it for again, bro? Let me go find out how much it was for. It was 3 years, $51 million. So 3 years, $51 million for Chase Young. My thoughts about it is that, hey, at this point in time, we need as much depth as we need. Because think about it. If we get rid of Chase Young, who the hell are we going to have on the other side of Carl Granderson? Who the hell else was we going to put over there? Who else? Tell me the name, guys. I just want to hear it. Who is he? Who is he, bro? Foskey? The guy that can't see the field? Peyton Turner's finally gone. If you guys didn't know, Peyton Turner's off the goddamn team. So, it's kind of like we needed to, bro. Just in case we can't get a draft, or, just in case we can't draft a premier edge rusher on the D-line, it's best to be safe to just be like, all right, bro, let's go ahead, bring Chase Young back. He did have a decent season. He wasn't trash, guys. He had a decent year. Yeah, he didn't have crazy numbers when it came to sacks, but you saw at the end of the season, pretty much right after goddamn Dennis Allen left the team, he started getting those sacks. He started getting those explosive tackle for losses. If you do go look at his stats, look at his pressures. He was very high in terms of his stats and how much pressures he was getting. So he was consistently getting pressure, consistently making moves to find himself in the backfield. It's just a lot of times he couldn't make the final move or the final push to make that sack or that really big explosive play. He was always like one step or a millisecond late for making the big play in a lot of cases. So I'm not upset with the move. I believe Chase Young this season did more more good than harm. Beginning of the year was kind of shaky, but the whole second half of the year, he was balling. The dude is still young, guys. What the guy is, Chase Young is like 27, 26? Oh, it is 25. The dude is still 25, guys. So you can argue he's still not even in his prime yet. You can argue the dude is still getting better. Who's to say, yeah, he might get hurt and he might, he might digress. He might actually regress. these next 3 years we have him. But who's to say at 25 years old, birthday's actually April 15th, 14th is coming up. But who's to say at 25 years old in the next 3 years that he doesn't explode and he enters his prime and becomes a damn monster? Or he finally turns that corner and be the player that everybody thought he would be coming out the draft. Who's to say he doesn't become that guy? So this is one of those calculated risks. It can go either way, guys. He can either regress or he can blow up, bruh. It's one or the other. I believe it's going to be one or the other in these next 3 years. He's either going to get worse or he's going to get better. And the Saints are believing that, hey, we think at this point in his career, he's going to get better. So I don't got a problem with it with the thinking that way, because there's no certainty that we're going to get, somebody off the edge. We didn't really get anybody in free agency to come off the edge, as a D-line rusher. There's no guarantee that we'll be able to get another one in the draft. Who knows? Maybe old dude from Penn State, Abdul Carter, maybe he drops down to number 9 because there's been some negative things going about his health and stuff, and you know how that goes. Even though a prospect is really promising, some teams just won't pick him up just because he's had a little injury right here, right now. But by the time the goddamn season start, he probably gonna be ready to go, and we know he a damn beast. So if the Saints do end up getting him, then you really good. You got Abdul Carter, you got Chase Young, Carl Granderson. You have a very nice rotation of guys blitzing off the edge. I don't know who else they got besides Carl Granderson and goddamn Chase Young that's blitzing off the edge. They had Trey Hendrickson, so there you go. I mean, that would have been nice to still have, right? But I know, of course, I know they have old dude, Foskey, but Foskey hasn't played, bro. I do really believe Foskey's going to come on the team and make a impact off the goddamn edge. Do we really think that? I don't know, bro. I don't know. So that's really the main question. We're going to have better depth when it comes to the D-line, especially on the edges. Because honestly, bro, Cameron Jordan. How can I forget about Cameron Jordan? So Cameron Jordan's pretty much a rotation piece now. So right now you really got Cam Jordan, Carl Granderson, Chase Young, and Isaiah Foskey. If I'm not mistaken, those are your DNs, guys. Those are your DNs. They did pretty much sign another one. I'll let you guys know about that in a second. But yeah, we don't sign back Chase Young, bro. It's looking nasty. We're literally going into the draft, and all we have on the D line is Cam Jordan, Isaiah Foskey, and Carl Granderson. Think about that. If we didn't bring Chase Young in, that's what we got on the line on the as far as DNs. So yeah, I think the move with Chase Young was just fine. About $17 million a year, okay. Next contract extension, we got Mr. Jawan Johnson. This one right here may puzzle a lot of people. It kind of puzzled me as well. I felt like, damn, Jawan Johnson should be way better than what he is. And I honestly feel like that he has underperformed. But who the hell knows, guys? It could have been the product of the system that we were running. Because, when Sean Payton was on the team, we saw the elevation of him from wide receiver to tight end, and we saw him steadily improve. But over the last few seasons with the offensive coordinators and shuffle with Pete Carmichael, and with old dude that was there, Clint Kubiak, and having Dennis Allen as the head coach, maybe that made an impact on his play. You know what I'm saying? But 2021 159 yards. 2022, he went to 508. So he went from 159 to 508 in one season, guys. That is a huge jump in production. 2023 had a down year. I know he was banged up kind of that year, 368. This past season, 548, which was his most receiving yards he's had. 50 catches, the most receptions he's had. So a career high in receptions, a career high in yards. Okay, only 3 touchdowns though. So with Juwan Johnson, you pretty much looking at somebody that you're thinking that, hey, with the right system, with the right amount of attention to him, with the right coaching, maybe this guy can be a 700, 800, tight end, 700, 800 yard tight end, maybe get close to 1,000. He had 548. So at 28 years old, he's kind of at that point now where, hey, you in your prime, bro. You in your prime. So if you gonna make that next leap, it gotta be right now. I also gave him a 3-year. So he's gonna be under contract until the dude's like, 31? So this is your prime, Juwan. This is your time, dog. So the Saints are making another bet that, hey, this guy now is in his prime. He's coming off his best career, his best season in terms of receiving yards and receptions. And he wasn't in the best situation, and he made those numbers. So they're pretty much looking at who's to say that this guy can't come out and put together a 700, 800 yard season with a better coach in the system, with more opportunities around. Who's to say he can't be 700, 800 yard and he's entering his prime? We know he has decent speed for a tight end. He has great size. I've seen him make some great catches. I've seen him drop some bad catches. Drop some bad balls. I've seen him have some bad drops. I've seen him make some great catches. I've seen him make some great plays after running with the ball. I've seen some ups and downs with him. But I feel like with Juwan Johnson, I've seen maybe a little bit more highs than lows. So the Saints are believing that, hey, we believe that this guy at 28 years old in his prime, that he's going to make that leap with the new coaching staff in the room, in the building. And we feel like that he's going to be able to be our tight end 1 most likely. So, hey, once again, if we don't re-sign Juwan Johnson, who the hell do we have at tight end, guys? Who do we got? Let me know. I think, is Foster Moreau still on the team? Foster Moreau did some good things. You know what I'm saying? But Foster Moreau is more, he was pretty much used more as like a dual threat type of tight end. He is 27 though. But he's a tight end you can depend on him while he's blocking. And you can also depend on him to make some good contested catches, in the red zone. But Foster Moreau had 413 yards, 5 touchdowns. So Foster Moreau was decent. So you're thinking that, hey, maybe Foster Moreau and Juwan Johnson, dual tight ends, maybe they can make some plays. Maybe they can work well off of each other. Which, they both had some really good games during the season. But can they all put it together for a full season? Can they both put it together for a full season is the question. And tight end is also another position where, hey, Saints, go out and draft you a tight end, maybe in the 3rd round or something. I don't know. I know a lot of people talk about Mason Taylor from LSU. If he's still available in the 3rd round, I don't think we should get him in the 1st or 2nd round. But if a tight end like Mason Taylor is available in the 3rd round of the draft, I say snag him. Because bam, there go your young future tight end that you can develop, and he can become your future tight end. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much Juwan Johnson. Hopefully he has a great year. Like I said, coming off a season high. And receptions and receiving yards. So hopefully he picks that back up and he does even better this season coming up. So those are the contract extensions. There was some restructures. I know Cam Jordan had his contract restructured. I think he took like a pay cut. Also, Tyrann Mathieu, I think he took a pay cut as well. Got his contract restructured. So those are two veterans that, did a little something to help out the team to make some moves. So, in other news, we did lose Paulson Adebo. I want to throw that out there. So we did lose Paulson Adebo. I do know we also lost Peyton Turner as well. Was there anybody else anybody else that just pops off the top of my head that we lost? Peyton Turner and Adebo were like the main two guys that I know that we lost. Will Harris, the safety. There we go. That's another one. Will Harris, the safety. We also lost him. Marquez Valdez-Scantling. We lost him. So those are just some of the notable names that we don't have on the team anymore that you guys need to keep in mind. So Will Harris being gone, affects the safety room. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, him being gone, hurts the wide receiver room. Adebo leaving, of course, that pretty much affects the cornerback room. Peyton Turner, who gives a shit? All right. So that's pretty much a rundown of the releases. Hey, shout out to Adebo. I wish him luck on his rest of his career. Hopefully he does good over there with the Giants. He was good for us. He's a playmaker. Very good playing the ball. He gets handsy. So he go get them goddamn penalties. That's one thing he go do. He go get them penalties, but he also go make some big ass plays too. So, coming off his injury, a pretty severe injury, I can understand why the Saints are like, maybe we just draft another cornerback in the draft or something, or pick one up at free agency. Adebo, hey, wish you luck, bro. Crazy. We lost Adebo and Marshon Lattimore, our two starting cornerbacks, literally just a year ago. That's wild. That's wild, y'all. So, that's the releases. Pretty much now getting into the free agency, the big free agency moves. We're going to run through those real quick. First off, Devon Godchow, however you want to say it, Devon Godchow. We traded for him a 7th round pick. That's pretty much, all we gave up. We gave up a 7th round pick to beef up our defensive line. He is from Louisiana. He did go to LSU. So he is coming back home. Probably going to have a resurgence. Going to love playing back home. And you always like to hear about that when it comes to players coming back to their hometown, home city that they wanted to play for. So I believe this is going to be good because he's the type of player that's just going to help you in the run game. He doesn't have crazy, staggering stats. It's like, oh my God, he's a game changer. But he's the type of player that, hey, if he's down in the trenches, he is going to help you with your run game. He's going to be a good rotation D tackle. Having him alongside Brian Rizzie helping out the run game is going to be huge. And, they did bring back Colin Saunders and Nathan Shepard, I believe. Both of those, I'm kind of like, damn, okay. Colin Saunders, he made way more plays than I've ever heard of Nathan Shepard. Only thing I remember Nathan Shepard doing was stepping on a dude's hand or helmet or spitting on somebody. He did something. That's the only thing I remember Nathan Shepard doing in the whole goddamn season. It was something goddamn negative. But I've seen Colin Saunders get in the backfield, make a sack, get in the backfield, make a tackle for loss, get an interception. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen Colin Saunders make plays. So I'm not really opposed to bringing him back. He just can be a rotation D tackle. So, just having some depth like Devon Gauchow, he'll probably be starting on the D line next to Rizzie. But this will help to guys like Nathan Shepard, guys like what's his name, Colin Saunders. You know, there'll be more of just regular rotation pieces. So I like this move. Like I said, he's a player that's very active in the middle of the D line. Will give you some good push in the interior. So next up, the Saints re-signed Dante Pettis. Yeah. I'm not going to be too negative on him. You know, even though we had a lot of other bigger news in terms of wide receivers like DK Metcalf to the Steelers and, you know, D-Hop to the Ravens and Cooper Kupp to the, where'd Cooper Kupp go to? Devontae Adams. That's who it was. Devontae Adams to the Rams. So yeah, Devontae Adams to the Rams, DK Metcalf to the Steelers, Cooper Kupp. I don't know if he got picked. Oh yeah, he went to the Seahawks. I think that's where he's from Seattle. Cooper Kupp went to the Seahawks. So you had some bigger names, but hey, we got Dante Pettis, bro. So listen, he showed some promising things in terms of like the return game. So doing kickoff and punt returns, and also, you know, he had a very cool, nice catch in the corner of the end zone. Forgot what game that was, but he caught the ball on the dude's helmet over his back. Very good play by him. So, you know, it's just a death move, bro. It's for depth. He's like the sixth. He'll be like the fifth or sixth guy. The fifth or sixth guy, if we really need him, he'll be out there. All right, it is what it is. Dante Pettis, folks. Next up, who else did we sign? So we brought back Isaac Yiadom. So Isaac Yiadom, if you guys don't remember, he was on the team a couple years ago. Had a very good season for the Saints. You know, when some guys were injured, he came in and he played good, really good. He ended up getting a contract with the 49ers, and now he's back with the Saints. So Isaac Yiadom played with the Saints before. He was a third-round pick for the Denver Broncos in 2018. In the 2023 season, he ranked in the top 10 in terms of tight coverage percentage. You know what I'm saying? Lowest step of separation percentage and lowest open percentage in the league. So Isaac Yiadom is a type of cornerback that he's going to thrive when he's up playing aggressive. He's an aggressive type cornerback, playing up close, playing aggressive. He doesn't give his guys a lot of space. And, you know, you don't really see him getting burnt deep a lot. You may see him getting taken advantage of here or there when it comes to like shorter routes and medium routes, maybe. But you don't really see him getting burned deep a lot. You know, he does make some good plays on the ball. You know, so I'm not really negative about it. We lost Adebo. So now pretty much you're looking at Adebo, Alontae Taylor, and Kool-Aid McKinstry. So this move, I think it's a 3-year move as well, or 2-year. I think it's 2 years. 2 years. And this pretty much makes us aware that, hey, Isaac Yiadom's most likely going to be on one side, Kool-Aid McKinstry on the other side. That way you can keep Alontae Taylor in his best spot in the slot. But don't be surprised if you do see a cornerback coming off the board somewhere. I believe they are going to get another cornerback somewhere in the draft. I believe they have to, and I believe they will somewhere in the draft. But welcome back, Isaac Yiadom. Another big move, probably the biggest move the Saints made. They signed Justin Reid. So safety, if you guys don't know him, safety from the actual the Chiefs. So he was a staple actually for the Chiefs for a while, guys. And he's very good in the run game, very good in the pass game. He's a do-it-all type of safety, pretty much. Drafted by the Texans, where he balled out for the Texans too. So, yeah, I mean, Justin Reid, he's that type of guy where you know he's on the field, he's going to make a big play, guys. It's a 3-year, $31 million contract. So 3 years for $31 million, not bad at all, guys. Okay? He does get like 22 mil guaranteed, but not bad at all for a top safety. You can argue that Justin Reid is a top 10 safety in the league. You can really argue that. And he's 28 years old in his prime. He's in his prime. So it's not like the Saints went out and got an injured old-ass safety. They got a safety that's directly in his prime that can stop the run, make plays in the run game. He can make plays in the pass game. He's a do-it-all safety. And like I said, you got him for 3 years, whether those 3 years amount to some crazy amount of winning, but those 3 years, he would definitely make it to where we can have a competitive back end of our defense. When him and Tyrann Mathieu should be a pretty good duo. But like I said, once again, safety, don't be surprised if you see a safety come off the board somewhere in the draft. Because we are severely lacking in safety because we did lose, like I said, Will Harris was a loss that we took in terms of the safety position. So right now at safety, you're pretty much looking at Tyrann Mathieu, you got Justin Reid, and besides them two, damn, like I don't really think you even got a capable safety behind those two guys. Yeah, you don't really have a capable safety besides those two. So I believe the Saints 100% are going to draft the safety somewhere, just mainly for depth reasons. You don't really have a capable safety behind those two guys. So that's pretty much that. Shout out Justin Reid. I know he's going to ball out for us. He is also from Louisiana. You hear me? His dad was a track runner for goddamn LSU and is in the LSU Hall of Fame. So, dog, he's another Louisiana product. So you would think he's probably going to come to the Saints and try to show out as much as possible because he's coming back home. So you also play to that advantage. You got Devon Godchild. You're getting a good player. He coming back home, so that should elevate his play. Justin Reid, a very good player in his prime. He's coming back home. So you're hoping that, hey, these guys are in their prime. They're good players. Now they're coming back home. There's extra incentive for them to even play even better. So that's another big move that we made right there. Shout out Justin Reid. Another move that we added, another player we added, that's probably another next big move is Mr. Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks has came back to the Saints, guys. So the way I feel about this is pretty much Marquez Valdez-Scantling replacement. I think MVS went to the Seahawks. So losing him pretty much made it to where, like, damn, who's our third receiver now? Our third receiver is kind of in flux. But bringing in Brandon Cooks makes it to where that, okay, we have a veteran, reliable third option. Okay? So pretty much you're looking Olave, Shaheed, Brandon Cooks. I think they still, they got Dante Pettis. They still might got Mason Tipton. You know what I'm saying? On the team. So, of course, you still going to need some more depth when it comes to the wide receiver room. But Brandon Cooks, 31 years old, he still got some burners on him. Like I said, he's a veteran, so he knows how to get open. And I believe in terms of depth and production, this is a pretty good move for the Saints. And, I'm excited to see that, hey, maybe, I know he had a little bit of a down year, but with the Cowboys, when you put things in perspective, what's his name? Dak Prescott was pretty much hurt the whole goddamn year. And the Cowboys are the Cowboys. Their offense was, pretty shitty the whole goddamn season. So maybe his bad season was just a product of his goddamn environment. And he was hurt like 7 games. So, hey, you know what I'm saying? Welcome back, Brandon Cooks. I always consider you a New Orleans legend. Things that you and Drew Brees did. Drew Brees throwing them bombs to you. You throwing up them arrows to the stands. Hey, I'm excited to have him back. So those are like the main big moves. The Brandon Cooks, the Isaac Yiadom, the Justin Reid. I would probably say, in my opinion, those are the three biggest free agent signings for the team. Isaac Yiadom, Justin Reid, and Brandon Cooks, because those are three players in three big positions that we can use immediately and that are going to have big roles immediately on the team. So besides those guys, we also brought in Will Clapp coming back to New Orleans. Yep, infamous Will Clapp. We know all the memes about Will Clapp. Every time you see something on Twitter you like, post Will Clapp. Because, hey, I will clap them cheeks. You know what I'm saying? I will clap that ass. You hear me? Like, I will clap. Come on, bro. So, he's coming back. We did draft him in 2018. He came out of LSU as well. So, we are familiar with him. And, hey, he was a 3-year starter and guard at LSU. So, this guy is, pretty much a death piece, I would say, at this point in his career. And at this point right now for the Saints, he's a death piece. I do not believe Will Clapp will be starting, but he is somebody that's like, hey, if we do get an injury, he is somebody that's respectable and somebody, that we can put on the O-line if we need him. And that is very important because injuries happen almost every goddamn team. I mean, every game. Every game a team pretty much gets a damn injury. So with our O-line and how much they were banged up last year, at one point we didn't have a single starting lineman on the field at one point of the season. I think Fuaga was our rookie tackle. Fuaga was the only lineman that was fully healthy the whole year. So adding Will Clapp makes sure that, hey, somebody gets hurt in the interior, whether it's guard or center, hey, we have a backup right here because he can play guard and he can play center. So that's a nice move to help out the depth right there at the O-line position. Another O-line that we actually brought back is Mr. Landon Young. He used to be on the team, offensive tackle. He's somebody that actually started a lot of games for us when guys went down like Trevor Penning or even Ryan Ramczyk when Ryan Ramczyk was on the team. Landon Young was a player that we could depend on to come in and, decently help us out. So this is another piece that, hey, if Fuaga goes down or if Penning goes down, we got Landon Young right there, somebody that we trust, somebody that we can depend on to hold it down. So that's another move that we made. Jack Stoll, he's a tight end coming from the Eagles, fresh off the Eagles. He was 5 years, I believe, in the season. He has played for the Eagles and the Miami Dolphins. He's mainly a blocking guy. From what I know, he's mainly used for blocking, and he's mainly been on special teams. So he's a guy we're probably going to have on special teams 9 times out of 10. And he is most likely somebody that we are going to just have out there mainly for blocking purposes. He may leak out here or there for some passes, but he's not going to be a main target. That's mainly going to be Foster Moreau and Juwan Johnson. But the same thing like the old lineman. It's another death piece. If Juwan Johnson or Foster Moreau goes down, bam, Jack Stoll can come in and be a reliable, respectable tight end in terms of pass catching, but mainly for his run blocking. So you'll probably see him a lot in the run formations. So that's Jack Stoll, guys. Velus Jones Jr., next one, running back. He actually played with Alontae Taylor, University of Tennessee. All right. I believe they was roommates actually for like 2 years or something like that. So that's cool. He's mainly a returner. So punt return, kickoff return. The dude ran a 4.3. So he got some wheels on him. He got some speed on him. I think the dude is only what? He's maybe like 26, 27. Let me find out right quick how old Velus Jones is, bro. Velus Jones Jr., 27 years old. He's also had stints at playing receiver as well. Okay? So he's somebody that you can pretty much use as a chess piece, I guess, maybe, if you want to throw him in at receiver. You know, he helps out with the wide receiver depth. He also is going to help out with the punt returning, the kick returning. And if you desperately need him as a running back, he also can do that as well. So he's the type of player that you can use all around the field depending on where you need him. But I believe he's probably going to be our main returner. Punt return, kick return is probably going to be him and Dante Pettis. Those two are going to share the load in terms of the returning. And they both will also play a backup role when it comes to receiver. Okay? So this makes it to where Rashid Shaheed can focus on being 100% a wide receiver number 2, being the best wide receiver that he can be. While Dante Pettis and Velus Jones, while those guys can play backup to him and also do returning duties. So this is a good move. He's only 27 years old, so he still has some burst in them legs, still got some speed. So this will be good in terms of helping us out in the return game and also helping us with our depth at receiver. Anybody else? Any other big signings that I am missing? I don't think so. I think the last guy here is Jonah Williams. So he's coming from the Rams. He's a DN. So he's another rotation piece as far as DN goes or D tackle. He can pretty much play both. You can slide him in at the end. You can slide him in at the D tackle. And, you know, he can rotate and, you know, provide, you know, just some rotation, some freshness when it comes to the D-line. So when you think about the D-line, once again, Brian Brzee, Devon Godchow, Colin Saunders, Nathan Shepard, Jonah Williams. Those are the main guys that you're looking at as far as the interior linemen. You may end up seeing another interior D lineman getting chosen in the draft. That's another place that I believe that, hey, you probably can do, but we shall see when that time comes. But that's pretty much it in terms of all like the very important moves, the contract extensions, the contract restructures, the releases, the free agent signings. I believe those are all the main moves that the Saints have did over this time. If there's anybody that I missed, please leave it down low in the comment section. Any other news that I may have missed that may be important, but I believe I went through it all. And I believe that all of these moves that the Saints made, they all pretty much combine into one big move. And that big move is just adding depth to the team. You added some starters like Justin Reid, Isaac Yiadom, you know what I'm saying? Bringing back Chase Young, Juwan Johnson. So you made some, you know, decently big size moves, but you also made some smaller moves that's going to help out the depth for your team. And I feel like that's mainly what the Saints have done, is just making moves that's going to make them respectable. These aren't moves. They're not breaking the bank. They're not trading a bunch of assets. They're not going crazy to try to be competitive. But they're making moves to make sure their team is going to be respectful and have the required depth in case injuries happen. And also, you know, adding rotation pieces that can also help the team, you know, compete at a decent level. So all the moves the Saints have made, I don't really have a big problem about. I do have question marks like, you know, how good Juwan Johnson's going to be. You know what I'm saying? How good is, what's his name? Chase Young going to be? Those two signings, how good are they going to be? Those are my big questions. You know what I'm saying? But me personally, I'm just looking at this free agency and all these moves. I'm just looking at, hey, these moves help the Saints stay afloat while we're trying to rebuild. That's pretty much how I look at all these moves. All these moves are pretty much moves that we can look at it and be like, hey, this is going to make it to where the Saints can still kind of try to compete, but at the same time, they can kind of hold us in place while we try to build for the future, get ready for the draft, and also make moves, for the future of the Saints. So that's pretty much my thoughts of the whole free agency and everything that's been going on over these past couple of weeks or the past month. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think about Derek Carr coming back, what you guys think about the free agent signings, the contract extensions, the releases, the guys that we lost, trades, whatever the case may be. Leave it down low in the comment section what you guys think. Once again, guys, let's not bank on being world beaters this season coming up. Let's just think of this year as a bridge into making sure that we can compete at a decent rate while we're rebuilding the team. We are in a soft rebuild, so do not expect this team to come out and be a playoff contender. Let's just expect this team to maybe get about 7 to maybe 9 wins at the most. You're kind of looking at that range, 7 to 9 wins. And hey, maybe 9 wins slide you in the playoffs, maybe not. But it's going to be a 7 to 9 mediocre season. But we're going to continuously try to rebuild and retool this team. And eventually, when we hit on that quarterback, we going to have a team around them that's ready to ball. That's what we're looking at for the next 2 to 3 years for the Saints, guys. So, appreciate y'all for stopping through, man. When any important news come out, you will see it here on the Trey Talk Saints podcast. I will have the news. If there's a lot of collective news coming out, I'll have a full video dropping it. If it's one huge big move, I'll drop it. But that's pretty much it for your boy, man. Let's prepare for the draft. I will have a video about that when the draft is all said and done. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that. But until next time, it's been your boy. Y'all stay blessed. And of course, who dat?